Central now, the SAR begins in the west of the continent, where Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, has been appointed as the chairman of the African Governors Forum of the World Bank. This disclosure is contained in a statement issued by the Federal Ministry of Finance and seen on its official X account. The ministry, in the statement, said that this marks the first time Nigeria has assumed the role of chairman in 60 years. It also noted that the appointment presents a unique opportunity for Nigeria and the implementation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. Joining me live in the news to discuss this is Kenneth Ikenwa, a business, political and social policy analyst. A warm welcome to you, Kenneth, and thanks for joining us in the news.
Good evening, Gbenga. Thanks for having me on.
Now, Kenneth, Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, has been appointed as the chairman of the African Governors Forum of the World Bank. What do you make of this appointment?
Congratulations to Mr. Wale Edun. I think it's a fantastic appointment. I think it's one that could definitely position Nigeria in the limelight. Much more than that, I want to look at the bigger picture. We have been in the economic doldrums in the last 8 to 15 years, and there is no doubt that Nigeria remains Africa's largest economy. And it's just falls into place that Nigeria assuming this leadership role now, and a Nigerian with acclaimed international banking and financial expertise, assuming this position now, should definitely position Nigeria to, lead the continent into the new decade and also lead Nigeria out of the economic doldrums. So we hope to see what policies will emanate from this new appointment and what the traction and the trajectory will be for Nigeria. It's a good appointment coming in now.
Now, Kenneth, Nigeria hasn't had this appointment in 60 years. What would you say was the rationale behind this appointment? And is there anything that Nigeria is doing recently that might have informed this new appointment?
Well, basically, let's look at some macro issues, too, for the paucity of time. One is the fact that in the last 24 years, Nigeria, amongst many other African countries, so our democracy is quite stable, and it come to a very good extent, a good example for other nations, not just across West Africa, but across Africa and the entire, African continent and other continents to follow as an example. Secondly, Nigeria happens to be one of the largest trading partners of the major economic blocs. You call it the EU, you call it the ASEAN, you call it the United States of America. Nigeria happens, besides South Africa and possibly Egypt, Nigeria happens to be one of the major trading partners to these economic blocs. So it just falls into place that Nigeria has been doing something rightly in the last couple of 2.5 decades, and this position is not a swap in the pan. It is something that I'm sure will position Nigeria for greater heights if we take it in its strides.
Now, Kenneth, before we wrap up this interview, a lot of people will be wondering what's in it for us at this appointment. As we speak, Nigeria owes the chairmanship of the World Trade Organization with Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and now the appointment of Mr. Wale Edun. Are there any benefits that Nigeria and indeed Africans should expect from this appointment?
Basically, the benefits that should be coming to Nigeria and the entire Africa continent is that which points to a major target: trade, trade, trade. In the last 60 years or thereabouts, Africa and Nigeria has not been having the necessary trade surpluses that we're supposed to have. Now, when you compare the ratio of our exports to these major continental trading blocks that I did talk about, we definitely are being shortchanged. So I'm hoping that this appointment will position Mr. Wale Edun and position Nigeria and other African countries to be able to fight with one voice for trade surpluses and for fair trade deals. And these trade deals should not just be aimed at the export and import of consumables, but they should be trade deals that will also facilitate the growth of the industrial sector in different African nations. Because what we'll find out is that Nigeria and other African countries seem to be exporting more of cash, produce of cash crops and of raw materials. And when we import, perishables that do not actually grow the economy. So the benefits will abound in trade surpluses and in favorable balance of payments, not just for Africa, but for Nigeria as the largest economy in Africa.
Thank you very much, Kenneth Ikenwa, for your insights and contribution. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.